All right, guys, so for these double tables like this, your denominator is always going to be that bottom right-hand number, which is the 520, except for if you see a given line. Do you guys remember what the given line looks like? It's like a straight line in the middle. If you see that, the denominator is going to change. If you don't see that, the denominator is going to be the 520. So it says probability of the 20s. So it doesn't specify the sport, it's just 20s in general. So I'm going to go to 20s and look at that total. So this one's going to be 170 over the 520. For all of these, you want to take the time to type that into the calculator. So 170 divided by 520, math, enter, enter. 17 over 52. So my final answer for this one is 17 over 52. If you don't simplify on the test tomorrow, you're going to lose a half point. But those half points add up if you're doing it for every problem. So you just want to make sure that you check to simplify all of them. The next one says not 40s. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 520 total, and I'm going to subtract the people who are in their 40s. So if I go to the 40s, that total is 160. Right, so I'm going to do this subtraction, which is 360, right? And that's going to be the number of people not in their 40s. So then this probability would be 360, and because there's no given line, I'm going to make that out of 520. And I'm going to check if that simplifies. So 360 divided by 520, math, enter, enter. 9 out of 13 would be my final answer for this one. Anybody have questions on that's called complement probability, the not probability. The next one says baseball or football. When you see that word or, you could be looking at mutually exclusive events, but you also could be looking at overlapping events. So I want to think about the baseball people. And then I want to think about the football people. And if this were an overlap, the two colors would intersect. But because they don't intersect, that means that these are mutually exclusive. In other words, there's no person that picked baseball and football at the same time. They had to pick one sport. They couldn't pick both, okay? So in mutually exclusive probability, we add the two probabilities together. So I'm going to take the total baseball, the total orange number, 125, and I'm going to add that to the total football number, 200. And each of these is going to get that denominator of 520, because as long as there's not a given line, your denominator is going to be 520. All right, you can type this into your calculator the exact way it looks right here, using either parentheses or the alpha y equals button and make it a fraction that way. You just want to make sure that you reduce that fraction. Okay, so after I add them together, this reduces to 5/8. So the answers for this first three would be 17 over 52, 9/13, and 5/8. It might help for you to kind of just make a note to yourself if you got any of those wrong, so you are like creating your own personal review guide for later. We okay with the first three? All right. All right, so football or 30s. When I see that word or, I'm thinking, okay, this is either mutually exclusive or overlap. So I'm going to look at the football people. So I'm going to highlight the football people, and then I'm going to highlight the 30s people and see if the colors intersect. All right, so football, 30s. You can see that they cross up there, which means this is overlapping probability. So to do overlapping probability, we'll take the total football number So the total football number is 200 out of the 520 because there's no given line. Plus, we'll take the total 30 number, which is 120 out of the 520, and we'll need to subtract the overlap. The overlap is going to be the place where those two things meet, which is the 32. All of these get a denominator of 520. And then I'm going to type that into the calculator, the exact way that it looks. I'm just going to do it with alpha y equals just to show you the other way. So 200 over 520, alpha y equals, again, the second number is 120 out of 520, and then minus 32 out of 520. I don't have to enter this. This will reduce the fraction for me. So 36 out of 65 is the answer for this one. All right, for the next few, we now have the given line, which means the denominator of my original fraction is no longer going to be 520. When you are looking at ones with the given line, your focus group is the second category of people, okay? So for this first one here, my focus group is going to be the football people, right? I am only looking at these numbers. None of the numbers in my answer can come from any other row, only the football row. So of that football row, then I look at the first thing, which is the 30s. So of the people I highlighted in orange, 32 of them are in their 30s. And of the people I highlighted in orange, the total is 200. So this probability is 32 out of 200. And then reducing that, I get 4 out of 25. All right. Now for the second one, I'm going to clear this out. And it says basketball given 20s. So my focus group now is the second group, which is the 20s. I'm only looking at the people in their 20s, right? That's the column I'm looking at, the second one. So of those people that I highlighted in orange, the basketball number is 32. But the total is not 520, and the total is not 200 either. I have to look at the total in this column. And the total in this column is 170. 32 divided by 170, math, enter, is 16 over 85. And then the last one, not baseball given the 20s. This one's tricky. We did not do one like this, okay? I would say this is more of a challenge, all right? So I'm still looking at the people in their 20s. That's my focus group. And I want not baseball, okay? So here's how I'm going to do this. The total of people in their 20s is 170. Right, that's the total people in this category. And the baseball people in this category is 45. So I'm subtracting the baseball people out of this category. I'm looking at 125 people, not baseball. All right. Other way you could do it is just add football, basketball, and hockey, right? So there's 125 people that are not baseball, and the total 20s is still the 170. I'm still using the total from this column. So it's 125 out of 170, math, enter. So this one would be 25 out of 30. So hopefully you're marking up column B based on the ones that you had wrong from column A. But you're definitely gonna have a big table like this on your test tomorrow where you're gonna find multiple different probabilities. Alright? So today's test review is gonna be independent, so in a moment you can get your phones, alright? But you've got so many options, alright? I've got 6 options up on the board for you. Option 1 would be go do column B from the warm-up, right? If you found that you were getting a lot wrong, you definitely need more practice with that table. There's definitely going to be a big table on the test tomorrow, all right? So you could do column B on page 27. Option 2, the traditional test review guide is option 2. 24 and 25 is your test review guide. The answer key is not on Canvas yet, but it's going to be because I have it right here. I just need to scan it and put it on. So it will eventually be on Canvas in the next few minutes, all right? So option 2 would be your review guide. If you want more specific practice, option 3 through 5 are specific categories. Option 3 is theoretical versus experimental probability. That's the very beginning of the unit. So it's been a while since we've done that. You might want to look at those. That's 28 and 29. Independent, mutually exclusive overlap is a big one that we struggle with, okay? So if you want to look at those type of events, that's 30 and 31. Two-way frequency tables is more practice like the ones from the warm-up. That's 32 and 33. And then there's a second review guide. It's not as good as the first one. So like if you're going to do the traditional review guide, go option 2. But if you need even more practice, there's a second review guide. It's not as good because you'll see there's a lot of problems you're going to have to skip. Problems that we're not doing. So you can look at that. Just make sure you're looking at the problems to skip. All right, in a few moments, I'll have all those keys on Canvas. They're not there yet. Today is going to be completely independent, so you can grab your phones, listen to your music, but you're doing this on your own. Your test is tomorrow. Feel free to come up here and get help, ask questions as needed. Questions for me before you get started? All right, go ahead.